I decided I wanted to do something else, and I meandered into a public access television studio. And I just started playing around with video cameras. This is back, way in the day when they were made out of, string and vacuum tubes. And a friend of mine at a health club, he said, "Hey, Justin, you make videos, right?" And I was just dropping Mentos into Coke bottles. I mean, I was just doing silly stuff, amateurish. And I said, "Yeah, I make videos." He says, "Well, my company is, we're a fundraising company, and we're raising money for the Nantucket Cottage Hospital. And we're doing this capital campaign. We need a video for it. Why don't you make the video for us?" I said, "Great. Are you going to pay me?" "Oh, of course we'll pay you." "Oh, fantastic." So I fly down to Nantucket. It turns out John Chancellor, who used to be the co-anchor of the NBC Nightly News, he narrated baseball, very famous guy. He lives on Nantucket in the summertime, lived on Nantucket. And I was told, John Chancellor is going to donate, he's going to narrate the show. Fantastic. We got this wonderful voice. So I'm flying down to Nantucket. Bear in mind, I have never directed anything. I've never even seen a fundraising video in my life, but, I watch 5 hours of TV a day. How hard can it be? I had this marvelous advantage that I didn't know how dumb I was. I was not aware of how incompetent I was. On the plane, they said, oh no, John Chancellor is not going to, because I said, when am I going to get this tape? He says, "Oh no, he's coming up. He chartered a plane. He's going to be in the show. You're going to be directing him tomorrow." And I'm sitting there going, well, gee, that's interesting. So the next day comes, the video crew shows up, and they're so excited because here I'm their new client. I've just hired these guys, and it's, okay, Justin, Mr. Locke, sir, Mr. Director, sir, Mr. Professional Producer, sir, where would you like us to put the key light? And I smiled, and I said, "What's a key light?" And the guy, his face, he kept smiling. But all the color and light went out of it. It went from, "I'm happy to see you," to, "Boy, you're a total idiot, aren't you?" Very subtle, but very clear. And he said, "Is that the schedule?" I said, "Yes, it is." And he just very politely took it from my hand, and he never spoke to me for the next 2 days. Because and what was funny is that the crew, professional people, they have their little spats and problems and arguments, but their disgust and contempt for me overcame all of their interpersonal issues. They became united in their disgust of me, and they worked like an absolutely it was astonishing, the teamwork that occurred. And they're setting up the lights because they want the day to be over and get away from me as fast as possible. John Chancellor shows up. "Oh, how do you do, Mr. Chancellor?" He says, "Justin, where would you like me to stand?" "Where would you like to stand, Mr. Chancellor?" He says, "Oh, I'd like to stand over here." I said, "I think that's a great idea." And of course, the camera guys are not going to disagree with anything because they don't want to slow the thing down. So we do a take, and I said, "Are you happy with that?" He said, "Yes, I am." "Great, on to the next. You're supposed to do 2 takes in case there's a wrinkle in the tape or lightning outside." I didn't know, and no one's telling me this. So we're just flying through the day. We get all these shots. So, we leave Nantucket and go back and I'm editing away. It was very strange. John Chancellor went back to New York. He said, "I met this new young director, Justin Locke. What a pro. None of this, doing 2 or 3 takes. I felt like I was doing live TV. The intensity was amazing. And what was really remarkable was his crew. He hardly said anything to them, and they just moved like greased lightning." Well, that was nice, but now I edited up this tape, and to be honest, I did my best. I had John Chancellor, but it was still a very amateurish thing, because come on, I didn't know what I was doing. So I hand this thing in, I get this check, and I forget about it. I just put it out of my mind, and the phone rings 2 months later. It's my friend from the fundraising company. He says, "Justin, I need to talk to you about this video you made for us." And my stomach just drops, like, oh no, they're mad at me. He says, "Justin, it's unusual. We've never had this issue before." And I'm like, "Oh God, what is it?" He says, "We have never raised so much money so fast in a campaign." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Well, we play this tape and people just write checks. It's the most amazing thing we've ever seen. We're thrilled with you." I go, "Are you really?" He says, "Yeah, we want you to make all our videos from now on." What turned out, I didn't understand this till later, is that they went to these millionaires and billionaires with this tape. These people are used to these very slick, high-end productions that are, have helicopter shots and, beautiful original music, whatever. And they would play this tape that Justin Locke produced. And no one said anything. But in their minds, They would say, if this is the best tape the hospital can produce, they must really need the money. Principles of applied stupidity, folks. And just in 1 minute of conclusion, I'm a great believer in education is wonderful, learning things is wonderful, reading books is wonderful, having your horizons expanded is wonderful, but nothing's perfect and nothing is free of side effects. And if you have learned to be afraid of making mistakes, I disagree. I think that's not something you really want to know. If you've learned that to be afraid or ashamed of not being perfect, I would rather you didn't know that. I wish I didn't know that. If you're afraid of failing, ashamed of failing, this is nuts. This is how you learn. It's not trial and error, it's trial and failure. That's the only way you can master anything, is by repeatedly failing at something, working as hard as you can, hitting failure, backing up and trying again, failing, backing up, trying again. And if you're afraid of not knowing the answer, this is the biggest problem I have. I ask people at Star Market or Whole Foods, do you know when you're going to have more chocolate chip cookies? They won't say, no, I don't know. They'll say, well, let me check, let me confer, let me look up. No, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with you. I just want to know if you know. They can't say, I don't know. Excuse me, do you know where St. Camilla's Church is? Well, can you describe it? Can't you just tell me you don't know so I can go find someone else who might know? No one can say I don't know. And not knowing, admitting you don't know, is the beginning of mastery and enlightenment. And that's why I wanted to get away from this concept of being ashamed of being stupid. Embrace your inner idiot and learn from the principles of applied stupidity. Thank you all very much. It's been great being here today.